Hampson, currently serving as president. Rick Kennan, who manages the flyouts for brunch, and they always are such great fun. Nick Montlag, who is our new director, and he is very sorry not to be here today. He's on vacation with his family. And Dan Schrager, a past president, and also our host today here at Concord Country Club. Congratulations to you.
Beautiful location, beautiful day. Wonderful to see so many happy, smiling people here. I've got the mind piece. And I'm happy to say we've had a very good past year. The club is solvent. We're doing well. As we've heard a little bit ahead of my piece, the scholarship program is robust and
It provides extensive aviation-related financial services to be served to several aviation-related organizations and is a financial advisor to the Aero. And his involvement with the aviation industry for over 50 years. Well, that's kind of a long time. He has organized and managed several aviation entities as the First NH Bank, GMAC, Merrill Lynch, and Sovereign Bank. Joe Dini has taught undergraduate and graduate level courses in finance and has written many articles on aircraft finances, presented at National Symposium to Financial Symposia. Joe holds a BS in Finance from Northeastern University and an MS from Lesley University, and is currently working on a doctorate program in finance. And Joe, more power to you. My late wife had a doctorate in education, and I can tell you they do not give those away. So, in any event, this award is being presented this day, April 20th, 2023. And Joe, I'm going to ask you to come up and
I did make some notes, but I don't want to take the time to do that right now. We're running behind. El Mundo gave me a great opportunity when he stepped aside, and I was able to do some work with the people at the museum. And we were probably at 3,000 feet picking up ice, but we were okay. And then I met with, we were at the Plymouth AOPA fly-in. It was the first fly-in they had. It was a zoo. Well, we had a table there, and two people came up and sat at that table, Keith Graham and Barbara Jagler, and they said, we want to help. And I never saw them before, and we went to lunch, and they have helped. And they're at that museum. I can't tell you how often they roll up their sleeves, they drag things out, they get things done. And it was people like that. Georgia has been part of this museum forever. And I look around the room here and I see so many people that have opened their pocketbooks and their hearts to the museum. And that's why we've succeeded. It hasn't been just so much for anybody's particular energy, it's been a corporate event. And that's what aviation is all about. It's a community. And I'm really happy to be part of this community. And thank you for the award.
2002, the Presidential Award. So the presidents meet at Wright Brothers Day each year and discuss whether or not there was a recipient that was worthy of receiving the Presidential Award. And it has to be unanimous, meaning 100% of the past presidents have to agree. And you can imagine how potentially challenging that could be. And I'm going to take a moment to really discuss who received the award. This is inaugurated since 2002, honoring those who have made significant positive contributions to aviation whose impact could be regional, national, or even global. And I think our recipient today fits that category eminently. And we're blessed by having 4 past presidential recipients here at the luncheon table today, who I'll introduce in a moment. But I'm going to walk you through just to give you a sense. For those of you, many of you will know the names, but for those that you don't. Our first recipient was a man by the name of Bob Buck, and he was a longtime captain for Trans World Airline. He was also an aviation writer. And if you wanted to be an instrument pilot, you wanted to learn after you got an instrument rating how to fly on instruments, you read that book and it tells you how to transition to do that. Then John Roach in 2003, who was a aircraft ACON director, African-American member, and was in the tower at Logan Airport. David Frawley, my friend, who was an NDeeper. What's an NDeeper? He was a flight instructor and a designated flight examiner for every airplane that you can think of, aging military aircraft. B-24, B-25, B-17, B-29. There are not many people of those like. He was a remarkable. Bruce Landsberg, a member of our club, and for 15 years, crash course, keynote speaker, and is now vice chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board. Captain Al Haynes, you know that story. He got to Iowa City on his way to Chicago, lost control of the airplane, and got it on the ground and saved 170 lives. And then they put him in they put everybody in a simulator, showed all the failures, and nobody could land the plane he landed in simulation. Dan Wolf, owner, president, Cape Air, state representative. George Antoniotis, who built an organization, PlaneSense, pioneered single-engine turbines, fought with the FAA to get approved PC-12s, based in Portsmouth International Airport, used to be Pease, and very successful. John G.L. Cabot, one of the landmarks of the Cabot family, who has supported this organization, a genealogist of worst order, and always at our presentation awards for the Cabot Award, our most prestigious award that we've given since Igor Sikorsky received the Cabot Award in 1955. Joe White, producer of 5 legends in aviation that were members of the Aero Club, including Ann Woods Kelly, Charles Chip Collins, who was Charles Stark Draper's pilot for Draper Laboratories, John Roach, Crocker Snow, the legend, and John Griffin Sr. Jack Fern was a past director of the, I'll show you some pictures of these individuals. And now we're getting to who's here. Al Mundo, he's here today, and I'll ask the 4 past presidential recipients to stand at the end of this, but Al Mundo, founding director, as spoken by Joe Dini, Mass Air and Space Museum. Mike Goulian, everybody knows the great aerobatic pilot. Larry Camerlin, CEO of Angel Flight New England, sitting at my table, 20 years. Ann Corbett, beloved regional administrator, 15 years. Oversee with grace and dignity the FAA region in New England during her tour. Rob Collins, mainstay of Collins Foundation, and his development director has come back to Boston. Known him, Ryan, for many years, and he's back in Boston with the Collins Foundation, and Rob Collins is lucky to have you. And Dave Dini, you've met, our treasurer, who was executive director of Aeronautics and Management Association before he became secretary of the Aero Club in New England. We're wonderful to have him. Ann Bridge Bedore, who initiated the scholarship program, that's now $1 million that we support, and you'll hear more about that. Richard McSpadden, who is a flight leader for the Thunderbirds, who has been an integral part of our crash course the past 5 years, and a member of our club, David Clark Company, and today, Mark Robidoux. So, I'd just like to make a couple of comments. As the oldest aeronautic organization in North America, as our historian David Graham would like to remind us, the Aero Club has pursued two major pillars: aviation education of future pilots, both professional and recreational. We have awarded 720 scholarships totaling $650,000 to 300 individuals receiving a few $1,000s each year, and believe a significant number of those have pursued professional careers. This year we're awarding $58,000 scholarships to 22 students from 60 candidates. Our second pillar is aviation safety. In March, we celebrated our third year of Crash Course, our country's largest aviation safety seminar. According to AOPA, we had over 380 participants, and it was a blessing. We got everybody back in the room. The last time we did in March of 2020, which is the day before Governor Baker reduced the number to like 25, and I counted the days, 14 days after we had our event for 400 people, and nobody got COVID. We just got in under the wire. Today we're honoring an individual who has had a seminal role in aviation safety and education, both regionally and nationally. The Presidential Award, as I said, is from the past presidents. It began in 2002. I've told you about the recipients. And in 2002, Mark founded Pilot Workshops, and for the past 20 years has contributed to education safety of pilots. These many courses developed over the years, which you'll hear from him in person, including airmanship, basic training, VFR mastery, IFR mastery, proficiency courses, and recently pilot-friendly manuals. As a personal note, I've been a subscriber to IFR Mastery, their flagship program that provides new IFR-based scenarios monthly to thousands of instrument pilots. Past participants, instructors include Bob Martins, who has spoken to the Aero Club on more than one occasion. A previous speaker, Richard McSpadden, is also one of his instructors, who was the crash course keynote this year. A recent interesting creative simulating program was by Ryan Cook, Mark's content producer, using virtual team of instructors, software developers. It's a way of flying in mountains and not taking any risk when you're in a simulator. When Mark began the tip of the week, free tip of the week, he now has over 200,000 pilots who gets his email blast free. Mark flies a Cessna 182 for business, personal travel, and prac on amphibious floats, and his company is based in Nashua, New Hampshire. He's a local boy that's made really good. And please welcome our presidential recipient, Mark Robidoux, but I'd like also our president, David Hansen, and Georgia Pappas, who, if it wasn't for her, this event wouldn't have occurred. And she worked long and hard all the way up to this morning to make this happen. So with that in mind, I would like to present Mark, if you would come up, and I'm going to read the award. The Aero Club, thank you very much, David Graham, for helping us put this together. and Georgia, the Aero Club of New England, 2003 Presidential Award at Pilot Workshops, presented dedication to aviation safety through pilot proficiency, providing a variety of courses at levels that reach award. Thank you very much, David Graham, for helping us put this together. And Georgia, the Aero Club of New England, Mark Robidoux, founder of Pilot Workshops, presented dedication to aviation safety through pilot proficiency, providing a variety of courses at levels that reach the highest standard of pilot safety and excellence. And I do have
on pilot proficiency. So we don't teach pilots how to fly. We try to help them fly better and safer. That is our complete mission. In fact, this is the first thing you see on our website, and it's all we do. To do that, we have a number of different courses and programs. We have online courses. We've got 12 of them currently. You can see the list there. The online courses typically, on the low end, I think it would take about 2 hours to go through our smallest course, and up to 12 hours on our biggest course. Average is probably about 4 or 5 hours. But what we do is we try to focus on specific areas of aviation that are problem areas for pilots. Things people struggle with, things pilots struggle with. Maybe it's a safety related issue and a safety concern. So what we do is we recruit the best instructors we can, and we put courses together that do a deep dive into those areas. And the whole goal is to basically just provide tips, techniques, talk about best practices, and it's all about improvement. So we have 12 online courses, and we've got a couple in the works right now. We typically develop about 2 new online courses per year. We also have, I don't know if anybody here has read any of our pilot-friendly manuals. Okay. So the pilot-friendly manuals, the goal of these things, it's funny because pilots love manuals. The rest of the world has gone digital, but just something about getting a manual in the mail, it just makes you feel good, right? So we have these pilot-friendly manuals, and the goal of them, because so many things in aviation are super complex, and but the pilot-friendly manuals are really trying to simplify with simple step-by-step instructions to make things a little easier where we can. And this came from, we actually acquired a company called ZD Publishing in 2010. The founder of the company, John Dittmer, great guy. He put together these pilot-friendly manuals for Garmin 430, 530, the early G1000, some of the early Bendix King GPSs, which were horribly complicated to learn, right? And so he put together these pilot-friendly manuals so it's like, okay, what is it you're trying to do? Because typically Garmin gives you the 800-page manual that has no instructions in it, other than it's confusing. So he started with, what is it you're trying to get done? What procedure are you trying to do? And then here are all the steps that you need to take to get that done. So anyway, we just loved the manuals, and we got to know John, and when he was ready to sell the business, we were in a good position to acquire it. So we bought the pilot-friendly manuals, and we've expanded that concept because there are so many other things that are complex and difficult to follow in aviation. So we started doing things like IFR communications, VFR communications, IFR procedures, even airplane engines, and we put them into the pilot-friendly manual format, and those have been real popular for us. And then we have our Mastery program. Any Mastery subscribers? Okay. So this is really for the people who, in my opinion, are super dedicated to ongoing proficiency, because you're making a commitment that you're going to take these courses monthly. So every month, if you sign up for IFR Mastery, every month you get a new challenge, and you've got to work through it. and it really keeps your critical thinking sharp. It helps you make better decisions. And there's a really good community of people that are involved with it, a lot of instructors, people share information. So that's kind of our flagship product, and it's a monthly subscription-based product. So those are the 3 products that we offer. I can tell you just briefly, you had mentioned, Gary, maybe talk a little bit about how we get started. So why did I start this business? Actually, before I go any further, I do need to do probably the most important thing I want to do all day. Thank my wife, Jack.
Well done.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without her. Not only did she support me, she encouraged me. I had this crazy idea for a business. And so what started was I got my instrument rating in 2003. And it was so I passed and got a good score on the written, did a good job on my check ride, got my rating. But I was like, geez, I don't really feel like I'm ready to do this. I don't know. And the funny thing is, when I tell the story, I get so many heads nodding of other people that are like, okay, I can fly approaches under the hood like nobody's business, but hell if I can go plan a long cross country in IFR conditions. I didn't feel like I was ready. So I started looking at online. I'm like, there's got to be some information online that can help me to get over the hump and to feel more comfortable. There wasn't anything. This is back in 2003. So that's where I got the idea for the business. And I talked to my wife. We had young children at the time. I said, I have this crazy idea for a business, and I don't know, but it seems like there's something there. I had been in the software business for 15 years up to that point. And so she's like, well, damn, do it. What the hell? Life is short. You should do it. And I'm like, oh no, now I have to do it. So no, she encouraged me to give it a go. And so anyway, we started the business. I had a neighbor that had developed some online training companies in the past. So I brought him in early on to help me build the company. And we started in 2000, shortly after that. And then, so the first step is I had to recruit a crew of instructors to work with. And I did have the good fortune of meeting Bob Martens early on. And Bob is a legend in the FAA, right? Safety program manager. And so he was going from doing a couple, right? And he was doing a couple of live presentations every week, and the guy just brought so much energy. And I get to know Bob, and he introduced me to his posse of these amazing flight instructors.
You have a photograph of him.
I do?
Yeah, keep going.
Oh yeah, that's right, I do. I was gonna
One
say
more.
that, but-
One more. There they are.
There we go. Okay, so Bob is the top row, 4th one from the left. And so, so Bob, he introduced me to like Wally Moran, Bob Nardiello, John Krug, Doug Stewart. They were the foundation of our company in providing training. And the thing is, these folks had incredible knowledge. It's like most of us don't have the fortune of having people like that as instructors. So my concept for the business was, why can't everybody have access to people like that, right? And so
It's a great concept.
that was the whole cornerstone of the business, was let me see if I can extract some of their knowledge and make it available on a platform for pilots that's easy to access. And that was the whole idea. So I bought some audio equipment and I started driving around to their houses and recording stuff. And literally in their living room, in their kitchen, hotel rooms. Sometimes they'd come to our house at odd hours of the night for recordings when they were available. So the first 6 months, I just recorded a bunch of stuff. And I was like, wow, we're really onto something here. Because and by the way, I am not a flight instructor on purpose too. I've got commercial instrument, seaplane, I've got ratings, but I'm not an instructor because I wanted to represent my customers. So if it's something I struggle with or it's something I'm interested in, I figure our customers will be too. So that gives me a nice perspective. So anyway, we recorded a bunch of stuff, and then for the next about 6 months, converted that all into online courses that we started to sell. So things were really, really cooking. We had 2 really good courses that I was very proud of. And so then the easy part then is just to sell them, right? Because everybody's going to want one. And yeah, not so much. So we the model that we were following was we'd spend $1 in advertising to make 20 cents. So that was what we were doing. We tried everything, big banners on AvWeb. We were sponsoring everything we could, nothing. And so it was, I said to Jackie, I'm like, I may have to go back and get a job because this really isn't working out. And she had gone back to work. She was a nurse. She had gone back to help out. And but anyway, so after 2 years of doing it, I was like, no dice. Nice try, but. And I was excited about the products that we had created, and I said, maybe I'll just give them to AOPA, right? Because somebody should benefit from this. We can't make a go of it, but I don't want to see this get wasted. So I actually was literally at the plane making a phone call, and Jackie's like, don't you dare. And her mother told me not to. So,
That's a great story.
I hung on to it, and I said, okay, well, I'll just keep it going on the side. Went back to work, and then but I realized I'm like, in order to make this business work, I have to build a channel, right? I have to have a marketing channel. I can't be doing advertising. So that's when I started to take all the money that came in and I started to put it back into business, and we started to build our tip of the week list. So we started to provide free content. We were spending money to get people to let us give them free content. And that was what changed us. It changed the trajectory for us. So that was really instrumental. And then we bought ZD Publishing, as I mentioned. We started IFR Mastery in about 2010. So all these things, we started to gain a lot of momentum. And because I was putting all the money back into the business, things were really starting to turn around. And then I remember in 2011, I said to Jackie, I'm like, I think maybe I'll quit my job again because things are going well, And of course, she's like, yeah, do it. And I'm like, are you sure? So anyway, so ever since then, really, it's been a pretty great ride. We became a strategic partner of ALPA's, and that really lit the candle. That really lit the rocket and put us on a lot of places we weren't before. When we hired an incredible group of people. We're still only 5 full-time employees, which is amazing. We still are a small company in Nashua, but we've got over 20 contractors that are involved in everything from video production to audio engineering, editing, you name it, graphic design. We have a whole team of contractors that do amazing work that allows us to produce 2 new major products every month. So anyway, that's a little bit of the history. I just wanted to, a couple things that were just worth noting in terms of, again, the small company we are, but who we reach with an online presence is, Gary talked about how many people get the weekly pilot tips. We have almost 82,000 customers that have purchased one of our training programs, which is, the thing is, I actually just pulled this information together for this presentation, and that shocked me. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And this is pretty interesting too. More than half have purchased more than one program. And that seems to be the trend, is when somebody buys one of our courses or manuals, they buy pretty much a bunch of them that apply to them, and that makes me feel proud that we're doing something right. Almost 11,000 customers are from outside the United States. This is big. We have over 7,000 people that participate in those mastery programs we talked about. And those are people that are seriously dedicated to every month, completing these things, going through these challenges. And then 33, almost 3 years they'll stay and do it for. If you look at most subscription services, I think 6 months is the average retention. We're getting 3 years worth. So there's a lot of people doing some real training on these things. And then this is the one that really blew my mind, is we issue over 20,000 wings course completions per year. And I don't know, I really haven't talked to the FAA directly, but I think that's more than anybody else by a long shot. Because of these mastery programs, every month we do over 1,500 of those a month. So anyway, this is really, to me, if you ask what's been the secrets to our success, It's this, and this is an incredible, for those pilots in the room, I guarantee you recognize a lot of these people, right? Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
You know them all.
So, you know, these are, you know, I never know what word to use, like, you know, all-star cast, they're the best of the best, they're world-class, they're just incredible, the best of the best flight instructors that are out there. And we've had the fortune to collaborate with them and build some amazing courses. And really, what I'm most proud of is taking their collective knowledge and making it available on the website that we provide the content for. So that was our goal, and damned if we didn't pull it off, you know? And then I do want to say too, this is our behind-the-scenes team, and again, an incredible group of people.
Jeffrey
Also,
Von Vest and Ryan.
this isn't an individual award as far as I'm concerned. It's really a group. You know, they're just as involved in everything as I am. So I think really I accept the award on their behalf too. So that was it. I just wanted to again thank everybody.
Question.